Welcome back. One day I will find a new intro, but until then, welcome back to my channel. So I got an email from someone about a week ago that was basically asking me, outside of just saying hi and introducing herself, she was just basically asking me, like, how would you go about planning for a trip? Because she has a trip coming up in about 6 months. And so I sent her probably like a 4-page letter. And so I was like, okay, well, I might as well make a video because other people have this question too and they don't have access to my email address. And so I'm gonna walk you guys through how I typically plan out my vacations. I'm gonna walk you through how I create like my mock itineraries and things like that so that I can set up my budget and where exactly I put my money that I am going to be saving. So if this sounds like something that you need, then keep watching. All right, y'all, so I'm gonna be actually sharing my screen so we can go through the process together. But the main thing, when we've decided on where we are going, I always run straight to a Google Doc, because y'all know I'm the Google Doc queen, or a spreadsheet, because there's moving parts to figuring out your budget when you are trying to go on a trip, and there are multiple things you have to take into consideration. But the main things that I focus on and try to incorporate in the budget will be, of course, the activities that we're going to be doing, any vacation prep, like if I'm needing clothes, if I'm going to the beach or something and I'm needing, you know, beach supplies. I know some of the girls like getting their hair done, they order extra clothes, they get their nails done, waxes, things like that. Maybe you have to get your passport, as well as transportation costs and hoteling costs, like where are we actually staying. And so I'm gonna show you guys, I wanna show you an example of this document that I made whenever we were supposed to be going to Texas. I made this a couple of years ago. And so you'll see here, I have hotel housing, restaurants, like food, that is a big thing you need to eat every single day, transportation, activities, and I add in a little buffer amount just because you're on vacation, you're feeling good, you know, and it's very easy to be like, you know, what's an extra $20? Or I can figure it out whenever I go home. I don't know about you, but I do that sometimes. So this is all that is included or was included in that budget. And then I went into making my mock itinerary. This is one thing that has been extremely helpful for all of my trips. And the mock itinerary is very important because if you don't know what you're doing, you cannot budget an amount for those activities. If you are knowing you're going to the aquarium, okay, you are able to look up the cost of the aquarium and put it in your mock itinerary or your mock budget and kind of play around with your numbers like that. And if things are getting too expensive, then you know beforehand, okay, this needs to be X off the list. Or if you are maybe under budget or what you are able to afford, then you can add in more activities. And so here, same thing with the activities. Hoteling or Airbnbs, if you want to look up potential hotels or Airbnbs, you want to write the cost as well. And obviously you're going to need to know how many days and nights you are staying to actually create a cohesive budget. But it's good to make a list of potentials and then put the cost out on the side. So here we have like the Morin, I don't even know what this is. It's somewhere in Houston, but I like to add links as well. That way, if it's cutting close to the time that we're going to be going on the trip, I need to make sure that the cost didn't change, you know, by a crazy amount. And I'm still within that budget because it's going to be this budgeted amount that I'm going to be using to save, if that makes sense. If my budget is $600, I'm probably going to save like $650 to $700, and I need to know that my funds are still good. And then here we have the activities. These were the potential activities we were going to be doing. I would have put the cost out on the side. And then restaurants. So we're getting into the food portion, which I knew was going to be the biggest portion because food is expensive, and especially if you're on vacation, like you're wanting to eat out most of the time, and hotels don't really come with a full kitchen. And so I made a list of potential restaurants so I could go in and see, okay, how much is a typical meal at each restaurant, and I will go in and look at the freaking menu. So we're going to use this to kind of walk through an example. Let's say, once again, we're going to Houston, Texas. I live in Arkansas, so Texas is typically where we run to because it's just a bigger city. So here we have our total blank budget. So we're needing to figure out an amount for hotel housing, restaurants, transportation, activities, our vacay prep, and our buffer. So we go to good old Google. Let's say we're going to do a mixture of hotels and Airbnbs. And I'm not going to go into the weeds of it, but obviously, you know, you'll pick the site that you typically use for hotels to compare pricing. But let's just say we're going to use this right here. So Hyatt Place in Houston is $58 a night. Of course, it's going to depend on guests. So maybe there's 4 of you all in total. You're going to have to adjust that amount. But for this example, let's just say it's just going to be 2 of us. Maybe it's a vacation. So Hyatt Place Houston, let's put that in here. And then the cost was $58 a night. And I am extremely extra, like I said. So I'm just going to copy a link to the website because I like to once again go back and check the price to make sure that what I'm saving is going to be enough, because I have gone on vacation and plenty of times I'm like, I'm going to have to figure this out whenever I come back, and it is not a good feeling. But I've also gone on vacations where I've had enough. And some of the times, I will say, not most of the time, some of the times I do take cash, and I have had enough cash. I have actually come back with cash because I was very thorough with planning out the vacation. So Hyatt Place, and let's go back. We're just gonna go with these 3. The Royal Sonesta, which is $106 a night. And then, I hope I spelled that right. And then C. Baldwin, which is $134. And I swear Hilton has a million different hotel chains because some of these I've never even heard. So C. Baldwin, and that is $134. And then let's leave, maybe we want 5 choices. If you want 10 choices, you'll make 10 different rows. If you only want 2, then you'll just have 2, just whatever you prefer. But I'm just going to use all 5 here in this example. And once again, girl, do not forget to include a link to these. So let's do an Airbnb. Just because it's good to compare, you know, based on the features and things that you are needing for the trip and how long you're going to be on the trip. Is an Airbnb going to be a better solution, or is a hotel going to be a better solution? So here are our options, and it's not bad. It's looking like it's about $70 a night on average. Let's just pick a few. All right, let's do, this is a suite. So apartment in Houston, $62 a night. I'm gonna say Houston suite. What am I doing? And then let's just say, oh, this looks nice. And this is a guest favorite. That's typically how I find mine. Finding an Airbnb is the most time consuming part of a trip for me, in my opinion, because I like to look through reviews, photos. In the group chat, we have to be, you know, sharing links and making sure everyone agrees. So, you know, this portion of it can take a bit of time because no one wants to stay somewhere that they're not comfortable. So definitely make sure you're taking your time. But we're going to do this. I'm going to say apartment Houston 101, and of course copy the links. And there we go. So we've got all of our potentials for hotel or housing. And then next we need to actually go through and find our activities. We need to make our mock itinerary. And if you want to be more detailed, you can add the dates that you're going to be going for you and whoever else in the group is going. So since I already have a few examples from when I was supposed to be going to Houston a couple of years ago, we're just going to take some activities from this. So I was definitely trying to find some free activities and I believe I was taking the kids as well, which is why I have the zoo and aquarium and things like that. So let's see, I'm going to copy a few of these over. I think I'm just going to do 3. I don't know what this is, but we will find out. So typically when you have what you want to do, you can go and look them up online and go to their website and look up like admission, and if they have restaurants or certain add-ons, what's the amount for that, and then factor that into the cost, of course, by how many people are going to be going, especially if you have kids. So we need to figure out what Unicorn Disco is, as well as Palace Social. And my cat, okay, so you can see it's kind of like a restaurant and bar, which would mean that we need to figure out if it costs to get in, and if we know we're going to be eating there, once again, what does the amount on the menu look like? And if they don't have the amount available online, I kind of use my best judgment whenever I am factoring in an amount for that. So if they don't have the exact price, typically based on the places I go to, I will just add in an amount for that, just so I at least have an amount for this specific activity. So let's see here. It doesn't look like they have any admission. Okay, wow, pricing and deals. Okay, so let's say we're gonna go on a Friday and we know we're gonna be there just for an hour, so $60 an hour just to bowl. Like I said, if you have any add-ons, if you know you're going to be doing other things, add that on, because they've got rides, VR, shuffleboard. I don't know what foosball is, but I have heard of foosball and other things. So let's just say we're going to keep it basic. So we're going to bowl at $60 for 1 hour, and then we're going to get some food too. And I want to go back and look at their menu. Just to get an idea. So it looks like typically everything is around $16 to $18. I would bump that up because, once again, I like to have buffers in place because taxes, and once again, you are out having a good time, so you don't have such a tight hold on your wallet when you are in those positive emotions. So I would say about $25, maybe even $30, just for the food portion. And if they have a drink menu, you're going to look up the drink menu too and add that in. So let's just say we're just going to get a burger and it's going to be $30 for food. So we have $90 in total for this. And then Palace Social will do the exact same thing. Figure out what in the world that is. Oh, that was Palace Social. Okay, so that was Palace Social. So Unicorn Disco. What is Unicorn Disco? Unicorn. Maybe this is like a nightclub. Okay. I have zero idea, but it looks like it's like a nightclub. So let's go to the website and focus on the main thing, which is the most important thing. How much does it cost to get in there? Okay. And unfortunately, this is like one of those sites where it looks like they don't have a price. I don't know what this is. Okay. Let's see if they have an admission cost. Okay, so I tried to like fumble around with some different websites to see if we can get some type of admission cost. Now, normally I go into Inspector Gadget mode. If I do not see any pricing on the website, I am going down a rabbit hole trying to find like a review or something that has a price to it. And it looks like here on TikTok, which is, yeah, TikTok has everything. You could probably go the TikTok route if you are on TikTok. But for this, I'm just going to use my best judgment and based off of my experience. So if it's like a bar, maybe like $10 for admission. And then if you want some drinks, maybe like $8 to $12 a drink. And then times that by how many drinks that you're going to be getting. So maybe I want to take the higher end just in case, like if our drinks are $12, like we get a little cocktail or whatever, and we want to, or we estimate we're going to have to, then we'll just say $24 for drinks. So altogether that is a $34 total, not including tips, because you cannot forget that either. If you want to add in your tips, add in your tips, but this is the time to be really specific. So I definitely recommend doing that. So we have potential places that we're going to be staying. We have our activities, and then I do want to add in a section for food in this one. Based off of, I'll just do 2 restaurants from the one that I was gonna do. So let's do Snooze AM Eatery as a potential, and then we will do, let's do dinner at Nancy's Hustle. I don't know why this is, okay. So thank God I already have the links for this. So I'm gonna go and look at their menu, which is always a good thing if they have a menu that you can look off of. Child, I'm gonna do Egg Benedict and see what they have to go off of. All right, so they don't have the cost on here, unfortunately. But even though they don't have the cost on here, if you can order online, do like a little mock order based on kind of what you expect to be ordering. I don't know. Okay. Okay, so I said Egg Benedict is what I want to try. See, we got a cost. So $19.95. I'm gonna add that bad boy to the cart. And then let's see, I know I'm gonna want a drink. I think this is brunch. So let's do a mocktail. I don't want a mocktail, I want a real cocktail. I don't know. Ew. Okay, let's do a Sangarita. And that is about $12, which is about average. This one looks good, $10.95. Okay, so we know based on these two food items that it's gonna cost about $34, $35. This is not including our tip, but it does include estimated taxes, which will probably be maybe a little higher if you're eating in. So let's say 35, let's put in a little buffer and make it 45. If we want to add in maybe like a little tip or something. And then we'll do the same thing for Nancy's Hustle and see if we can figure out how much food is here. And it has a price on here. We're gonna go with a cheeseburger on an English muffin. That is $18. And we'll see how much drinks are. And then drinks are about $14, $15. So let's go on the high end. Let's do $14. That is $32. That is not including a tip. So maybe we leave like for $32, a $10 tip. I don't know. And make that 42, which is a little odd. So I'm gonna make it 45. I don't know why, but it just sounds better in my head. So 45 and then 45. So we've got food, we've got our activities, we've got hoteling, and we also need to figure out transportation. Like, are we renting a car? If so, you will go to the car rental sites that are in the area that you're going to be staying in, like Hertz, and then go in and figure out how much that is going to cost you and factor that in. Or are we going to be Ubering, or are we going to be walking? Maybe we're downtown and the area is within walking distance based on where we're going. Let's say we're going to be renting a car and that is going to cost us $320 based on the number of days. For hotel or housing, let's say we're gonna go with C. Baldwin and we are staying for 3 days. So 134 times 3, 402 is, I know that they do add in some fees. So with me, off the top of my head, I would probably add in an additional $100. If you don't need it, you don't need it, but you got it just in case. So I would make that $502 for hotel, and then for restaurants, we're just going to go based off these two. Obviously, you're going to need to put in based on the number of days and how long you're going to be there. If you're leaving early in the morning or whatever, you're going to need to list everything that you are going to be eating. Even if you're going to the grocery store, you need to be adding that in too. So we're gonna do 45 times 2, which is $90. And then for our activities, these are all of the things that we're gonna be doing. So Houston Murals are free, but we have $90 at Palace Social, and we have $34 at Unicorn Disco, but that's not including tips. So let's say we leave a $15 tip. That will put us at $139 for activities. And once again, list all of your activities out so you can have an accurate overview of how much you need. So $139 for vacation prep. We want to get our nails done. So let's say we get a manicure and a pedicure, and that's $120. Tip included, which obviously nowadays is a good price. And then a buffer, and the buffer is completely up to you. What do you feel comfortable with? Do you really feel like you're disciplined enough to stick to these amounts? Do you feel like you budgeted them correctly based on your research? Do you feel like, or do you know based on past experiences, when you go out, you YOLO a little bit? You're like, I'll figure it out. I'm gonna run this card and I'll figure it out when I get back home. If that's you, I would definitely recommend having a higher buffer. But let's say based on you know, our comfort level and our level of discipline, we need a $200 buffer. So $200 buffer that we're putting into. And I will say for transportation, do include how you're getting there. Are you getting plane tickets? Are you driving? You know, and how much are you going to need for fuel if you are driving? With Arkansas, going from Arkansas to Texas, I would definitely drive. So that's something that I would do. I would have to add in fuel costs, but I obviously would not have a $300 and whatever dollar bill for Enterprise for renting a car. But definitely that's something that you need to include in transportation. But all together, let's go ahead and see how much we are estimating that we need for this vacay. So $502, then we need $90, $320, $139, $120, and then a $200 buffer. So in total, we're going to need $1,371 for everything. So activities, prep, you know, a buffer, eating, where we're actually laying our head, transportation. That's what we're going to need. And what we're going to do next is take this amount and kind of reverse engineer to determine, okay, how can I get to this amount by the date that I need to leave? So this is always step one for me. What is the amount that I am needing? And then what is the amount that I need to be saving up every single month to reach this target amount? And when I am figuring out how much I need every single month, I may have to come back to like this mock itinerary and make some adjustments, especially if I'm not going to hit this amount. If I'm falling short, something has to be adjusted, and I would rather know what needs to be adjusted now versus getting out there and, you know, I don't have enough to go with the group to an activity, or I'm pissed because I couldn't get my nails done before or something like that. So, okay, next up. So we're at 1371. This is a spreadsheet because I told y'all I like my spreadsheets, and I have to have a visual if I'm going somewhere. So a couple of years ago, we were planning to go to Panama. And so I created this for everyone that was going to be in that group, so we could figure out or keep track of our savings. All right, so before we get to this, I'm going to figure out what is the minimum that we need every single month. Like, what is the minimum amount that I need to save to get to 1371? So let's say our vacation is in 6 months. I have 6 months to prepare, $1,371. So 1371 obviously divided by 6 months is going to be $228.50. That is the absolute minimum that I am needing to save to reach the amount that I say that I need to have a comfortable vacation. So $228.50 is what we're looking at. Now, I am someone that I'm going to take that a step further based on how many paychecks that I get within a month. So if I am a bi-weekly employee, so I get paid twice a month, I break it down per paycheck. So $228.50 in a month is minimum, but I'm going to divide that by 2. And so I know I need $114.25 per paycheck since I'm getting paid twice. Now, depending on how your bills lay, maybe you don't have $114.25 to give on certain paycheck dates. So you would actually need to go in, and what I recommend doing is having a calendar or creating a calendar and plugging in based on your pay dates. You plug in how much you're able to save from each paycheck, so you have a visual of like, okay, I need 80 here, or I can't save $114.25, I can only save 80. Then I know that the next paycheck I'm going to need to pick up the slack because I did not save that full amount and I need to get to this specific amount at minimum every single month. And then once you have that, you'll go in here and keep track of how much you're actually saving. So paycheck date, I'm gonna make up some dates, so maybe 6/3, and I saved $114.25, and I need at minimum, what did we say, $31.47. I believe that was it. Oh, $13.71, so not that much. $13.47, and then I saved $114.25 on this pay date. That means I have $1232.75 remaining, and I like to go out and plan out everything so that I can see how it's going to lay, just like it would with the calendar. So I'm plugging in everything. I'm plugging in all of my pay dates and rocking it out that way. I'm going to make up some dates, but there's no such thing as 7/31, 32 or whatever. So let's say, so I would do something like this and just keep going that way. And if I know I have like a lump sum of money coming in or an extra source of income, I will plug that in here too, just putting out some random dates. So maybe if I say I can only save $114.25 here, I'll plug that in. Then I can only save $50 here and $25 here. Oh, I've got this coming up, so I can only put $75. I can put $100 here. I can go back to $114.25. Kind of like you get the idea of it, just based on your pay dates and when you know you have income sources coming in. Just go out in time to make sure that based on what you can save, that you can foresee right now, that you're gonna have enough to hit this amount. And let's say, you know, we got to here and we have $500 left, then we know we need to adjust some things in our itinerary. Just something to make sure that you're staying within an amount that you can comfortably afford, and so you're not coming back home off of vacation with a new credit card balance, because I know how that feels and it's not a good feeling. You go out here to relax and have a good time. Well, hopefully that's what your trip is for, and don't come home with extra stress and you having to work extra hard, and then you're needing, you know, a whole new vacation because you had too good of a time. You know, you had too good of a time and you just weren't thinking logically while you were out there doing your thing. So this is how I plan my vacations. Hopefully this was helpful to you guys, and if any of you want these templates, I will leave a link so you can download a copy of them in the description box. I am so sorry, I was in my green era when I made this, so it may blind you a little bit, but you know, you can adjust the colors and the columns and whatever else to your liking. But I will catch you guys in the next video.